Hi again. All right, now I'm going to add a few labels, and these labels are going to basically tell the user whose turn it is, and they're also going to keep track of how many wins X has, how many wins, how many games O has won, and how many games have been draws or ties. So let me add those labels. Uh, and those are my birds in the background that you're hearing chirping. Hopefully it's not too loud. So let me change the fonts, make them something nice and big, like let's try 24. And let's go to Arial, my favorite font. Um, there we go. Okay, now these labels I don't really need to name because they're pretty much not going to have anything. There's they're not going to be referenced in code. So I'm just going to leave them the way they are, and um, then I'm just going to put in what they're going to describe. So that's going to be the number of X wins. The next one will be the number of O wins. Then we'll have the number of ties. And then lastly, the label at the bottom is just going to display whose play it is at any given time. So I'm going to say next play. Now let's make those all underlined. So I'm going to go into the font, go choose the underline option, and I should be good to go. And let me see if I can space everything out a little bit more neatly. So let's see if I go to well, that'll be good enough for now. All right. Now let me add labels that are going to actually be the values for how many wins and losses there have been, and then a label that is going to be whose turn it is. So let me change the fonts, make them nice and big. 24. And you know what? Let me change them all at once. So I'm going to group those together and then draw a circle around them. Oops, I don't want that one moved. Yeah, about that one. Okay, let me make the fonts 24. And these labels I am going to name. I'm going to call the one that's going to be the number of how many times X has won. I'm going to call it LBL X wins. And then for now, it's going to start when the program's launched. It's going to start with a 0 in it because obviously no one has won yet. No games have been played. Then the second one I'll call LBLO wins, and then it's going to also start with a 0. Then LBL ties, and you may also hear one of my cats. And then lastly, we'll call this one, let's see, which one did I call LBL ties? Oh, shoot, that was the wrong one. Let's just name there. That should be LBL ties. And that should be 0. And then lastly, we're going to have next play, LBL next play. And that's either just going to be an X or an O. So when the game starts, I'll have it default to X's turn. So I'm going to put a big old X in there in the text property of uh, the label. Alright, so now I have my basic functions or my basic labels that will pretty much tell the users what's going on with the match, how many games each player has won, and whose turn it is next.